Hey, welcome. This is This Passionate Life. I'm Stephanie, your host, the Passions to Profits coach, and excited about all things related to helping you turn your passions into profits. And today I'm super excited. I've got Stacey Magovern here with us. She and I met through a collaborative project, and it's one of those things, it's like kismet. It's like you're meant to meet certain people in your life.
For sure.
And I'm here to talk with her about how she helped turn her passions into profits and actually helped create a legacy business. So here she is. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on your brand new podcast.
Yay, me too. I'm so excited. So please start out by telling us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a small town girl, self-proclaimed. Grew up in Abilene, Texas. And for those of you that are not from Texas, it's a town where there's literally an Air Force base and a couple of colleges, and that's it. So very small town, about, I don't know, maybe 90,000 people. And but had a family that was just all entrepreneurs. My mom, I refer to her as the original badass because she grew one retail store into a chain of 6, all in Abilene, Texas. And so I just think that I always had that bone in my body, if you will, and always knew I wanted to own my own business and work for myself someday. Just never knew exactly what that thing was going to be.
Yeah, I love it, especially having a strong female role model, your mom doing something. If I think about that, 90,000 people, and she grew it to 6 retail stores. That's really impressive.
Exactly.
It says a lot.
It's a lot. And, I was sort of small-minded thinking, I would probably do the same thing right there in Abilene, not really realizing that, hey, there's bigger markets out there. There's a lot more people, and it doesn't have to be that difficult. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I got my cat here too. Probably got my niece, so I got a little visitor. So tell us a little bit more about the company that you have now. Yeah, let's start with that.
So yeah, I'm the wife of a police officer. So in 2012, I just came up with this idea that, police officers, a lot of them, at least in Texas, I don't know about everywhere, but at least in Texas, a lot of them don't make much money. So they really rely on off-duty work to make ends meet, if you will. So, we really budgeted on off-duty work that my husband would get to help with those unexpected expenses. Those unexpected costs every month are really the ones that kill us, right? So he would get some off-duty work, but it would be very random. We never knew when it was coming. We never knew when he was going to get paid from it. So it was really hard to budget and sort of be the CEO of my family, if you will. So I just came up with this idea, and I just said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way where there's like a marketplace for off-duty work where these officers can go and pick and choose as much or as little work as they want. And I believed in this idea. I really thought I could make it work. And I spent 2 years of my life trying to get it going. And then in September of 2014, I won or landed our first contract for $1.5 million. And that was the big launch of the company. So I literally went from police wife and commissioned salesperson to CEO of a multi-million-dollar company overnight.
That's incredible. I mean, you make it sound so easy too.
Well, that's why I stressed 2 years, because I was working a full-time job, raising 2 boys, being the wife of a police officer who was never around, and trying to build a side hustle, into a real company. So yeah, easy it definitely wasn't. And I hear a lot of people nowadays, they say, oh, she must have got really lucky. And that infuriates me, because luck had nothing to do with it. It was all tenacity, hard work, continuing to reach out, continuing to try to convince people that my idea was, the resolution in the marketplace.
Yeah. So this is what I love. This is what I love talking about with you, because this idea that you can, be, some people are great. Maybe you can be an overnight success, but for the majority of people, it is going to take grit. It's going to take tenacity. It's going to take, you talk about, you're a mom, you've got your kids, you got this brand new idea. And I also want to pick up on the idea that you sort of had to really believe in yourself. You had to kind of convince people that this was actually a thing. Is this sort of new? That's something I'm not familiar with, like how new this concept is.
Well, it's new to Texas. I don't know if other states have something like this, but it kind of comes along the lines of all the apps now that where you can go hire a contractor to walk your dog or to come clean your house or whatever. It's sort of the same type concept, just having a marketplace for police for their off-duty work. And in Texas, we say there's 2 seasons, right? There's highway construction and winter. So I knew that on highway construction jobs, they use police officers to keep the construction workers safe as well as the citizens safe. So they do lane closures and they follow along on the construction work just to keep the citizens out of the mix. And so I knew there was a need there. So I knew they needed police officers, and I knew how they were doing it in the past. So I really had to come up with this pitch of, well, you can get the same quality officers, but go through my company and have one point of contact and one invoice monthly, and relieve the stress off your project manager of having to hire and schedule all these police officers. And when you put it to them like that, they're like, oh my gosh, that will free up basically a full-time position in my company for someone to go do something that's more revenue generating, right? And not just, trying to manage 100 police officers. So, I really believed in the idea. I believed it would work. My husband, being a police officer, had the police contacts. I had the corporate sales experience. So it was just kind of meshing it all together and making it work and just not giving up. There was times along the 2 years where, you kind of go, gosh, should I really be doing this? I could be spending time with my family, or I could be, doing whatever. And I just said, no, I want to change my life. And you are the only person that can truly change your life. It's on you. And my mom was she always said that. She's like, if you want to change it, you're the only one that can do it. And it's true. And so I just believed that I could do it, and just stuck with it, and it all kind of fell into place.
Well, what I love about this too is that you were solution oriented. This is really important in starting a business. You were solution oriented to your family. You were solving a problem for your family, but also thinking broader picture, solving a problem for all these police officers who would benefit from off-duty work and in the highway construction, or if it's a private company that needs that security, that
right,
they're benefiting too. So what I love is that you took that idea of having a problem, and I know so many people out there that are looking for something to fill in the gaps, to looking for a side hustle, or to look for a way to just broaden their reach monetarily. And it's just so important to not think about just something that I'm passionate about, but how is that serving a need, which clearly you are. So I love that.
Right. And you have to, people ask me all the time, how do I do what you did? Well, and exactly what you just said. Step number 1 is find a problem in the marketplace for something you're passionate about and solve it. Because that's the key. I mean, and then have the perfect process to implement it. It's all about, filling a need, filling a gap, and then having a process that's absolutely flawless.
Yeah. So when you started this, I don't know if you knew exactly how this was all going to pan out, but how did you, if you didn't know everything, how did you figure out how to do this? Like if someone has an idea and they're just not quite sure how to make it happen, we can kind of get stuck in that analysis paralysis. How did you just jump in and start?
Well, you just can't be scared to talk to people.
Yeah.
You got to put yourself out there. That's, one of my great attributes is I'm not scared to tell anyone anything or talk to anybody. I talk to a CEO the same way I talk to, the lady that cleans my house. I mean, you just have to be willing to make those cold calls. Hey, look, this is my idea. This is what I'm thinking, and let them tell you. I was going to these gigantic multi-million-dollar highway construction companies and saying, this is what I want to do. And, and then they kind of guided me along the way. But you could see as I'm telling them what my plan is, the light bulb sort of going off in their heads going, oh my gosh, this would be so great for us if this, if she could make this happen. And so, the company that finally gave me the $1.5 million contract, I'd probably met with them, oh my gosh, probably 12 times. I mean, there was no just overnight, but they never along the whole process, they never said to me, oh, we're definitely going to go with you, or, this is definitely going to happen. I had absolutely no idea when FedEx rang the doorbell with that 300-page contract that was happening, so
I'd love to have that on video, just to see your reaction.
I know. Well, it's the moment when you go, wait, wait, how many zeros are in a million? And like, what? And then, then reality sets in and you have to sit down and read this 300-page contract and figure out if you can even meet the terms and, how you're going to move forward. So it's kind of one of those things, be careful what you wish for, because it just might happen. And for me, it did. So yeah, it was a process.
So talk about any fears. Are you someone who had any fears along the way? Or did you ever feel like you talk about tenacity, it takes tenacity to stick with your vision, especially when you get some no's, or, when you mentioned talking with that company so many times, let's say you're someone in sales, you might have to have a touch point with someone. I think it's like at least 7 times before they may say yes or want what you have to offer. Right. So sometimes people make that one phone call and they give up when they get a no. Right. But talk a little bit about any fears you might have had or how you were able to kind of keep going.
Well, I'm not a real fearful person, but I believed in the idea, I think is the main key. And I really saw the benefit, not just for me, but for that. I was really helping them as well as the officer. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. And I think that's a real, point that you should take is, it can't just be solving your problem. You can't just be selling, a widget. You have to have, if it's a service industry, I'm saying you have to have a plan of, how is this going to benefit everyone? And what is this going to make different in everyone involved's world? And yes, you absolutely, especially for something like a huge contract, you have to build trust. And trust does not come on one visit. Right. So yeah, you have to keep going back and keep visiting and keep talking to them, and maybe that company is not the sale, but maybe they know someone that is the sale, or that you can help. So
that you make. Exactly.
Yeah. And the most frustrating thing I hear from people is they say, well, I want to do what you did, but I don't want to work on weekends, and I turn my phone off at 5:00, and you're never ever going to do what I did if that's what you do. I mean, I was waiting for that call 24/7, highway construction, they're working at night. So, I mean, I was available anytime they wanted to discuss what we were going to offer. So, it's all the work that you're willing to put into it.
Yeah. So along with that belief, along with believing in yourself. So I really like hearing you say that, because for anyone who wants to go for their dreams, or a lot of people is sort of within an entrepreneurial world hitting that 6-figure mark, to do that, you have to be willing to have the discipline to be up at night, and also you've got little kids, to have that trust that this is going to pay off, to trust yourself enough to say, I can take 2 years to manage this with my family because I believe in it enough for all of us. So,
well, and 2 years in the big picture is not very much time. I mean, when you really look at, that's not that much time.
Yeah.
But I hear entrepreneurs all the time, say, I don't think I'm going to make it. And then I said, well, how long have you been doing it? And they'll 4 months, 3 months. I'm like, oh my gosh, you haven't even started yet. It takes more than that. I mean, it just does. And sometimes you got to have a side hustle for your side hustle. And, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes. And if you're only willing to work one job, and you're only willing to turn your phone off at 5 p.m. and all those little things, it's probably not going to happen for you. It just takes more than that. And now that I have the successful company, now I have the free time, and I have the funds, and I have, my life is 180 different than it was back then. But I put in the work to get there. So.
Right. And not only that, and that's where, one, you have created a legacy company. And when I talk about that, we're talking about a company that you would be able to pass on to your sons if they wanted to, or sell it because it's successful. It's like its own deal. So you can sell that or pass it down. And you have created a nonprofit. So please tell us a little bit more about the nonprofit. And just, so one more thing is that just the thing about this is I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who they really want to give back. They keep talking about when they reach a certain place, they can give back. And a little caveat, we can always give back no matter where we are. But I do love that you're in a big place to give back in a huge way. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, in 2017, after we'd had a few years of success, my husband and I just looked at each other and we said, we want to do more. We've been seriously blessed and seriously fortunate that all this has gone the way it has. Just so everyone knows, I've started other businesses in the past that weren't successful at all, were total failures. But, I learned from that and I moved on, and this one's happened to be a success, which has a lot to do with timing in life also. But so we looked at each other and we said, how can we do more? How can we pay this forward or give this back? My grandfather always said, you get what you give in life. And it's so true. What you put out there is what comes back to you for sure. Mm-hmm. So we decided to self-fund our own nonprofit, Blue Family Fund, which provides scholarships for dependents of first responders that want to further their education, and then financial aid for families of first responders that want that have fallen or injured officers in their family that need some assistance financially during that trying time. Mm-hmm. So the first, we've only been in existence 2 years, but so to date, we've been able to help 7 families of fallen or injured officers and given out 3 scholarships. So we're pretty excited. It takes time to build a nonprofit and a reputation that people want to give to. But we're totally different. We don't take any salaries or anything out of the nonprofit. So literally every dollar that's donated goes directly to help a family.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. Thank you so much for doing that. I love letting other people who are listening know about this and are aware of it. So if they choose they can give to you and they can give to your fund. And also knowing that it's a full nonprofit, that you are giving the proceeds completely to these families and the scholarships.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, our most recent scholarship was in December at the First Responders Bowl here in Dallas at SMU Stadium. And we gave out a $5,000 scholarship to the daughter of a first responder that's going to pursue nursing at Texas Tech. So we're pretty excited.
I love it.
That's our biggest scholarship to date. So we were real excited to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's huge. So tell me a little bit more about, I really feel that people's businesses should really reflect their personalities too, because you can look out there at the world and see a gajillion ways to make a lot of money.
Right.
But how can you make the money in a way that works with you? Like some people are really great working behind a screen and other people need to be out there just really social and talking with others. So you want it to be a match. So tell me a little bit more about how your personality matches your business.
Well, I'm very fortunate that I have a husband that is the Excel spreadsheet kind of brain, which I'm not. And so we have a great partnership because he has the process down for the scheduling and hiring and all that for the police officers, down to, perfection, whatever. The process is, crazy good. And then I am, like you said, I'm the people person. I'm out there, I'm talking to people. So I'm the sales face of the company and he's kind of the behind the scenes, and it just works for us. I love talking to people. I love getting out there. But I'm also a passionate police wife. Law enforcement is a big family once you get into it, and police officers are very loyal. They really like to do business and stick with businesses that they know and that support police. And, some of the things that have gone on in the media in the last few years have really been disheartening. It's really sad, kind of the way the media has spun some situations, and there's been bad apples as well that, but there's a bad apple in every line of work. So, I think it's a combination of a couple of bad apples and some media coverage of certain things that have really given some police a really, really bad name. And there's been a lot of ambushed police officers and things that just shouldn't happen. So I'm very passionate about that. I'm passionate about really sharing the good guys, the ones that show up every day, put their lives on the line for very little money in a small town police department in Texas, and really rely on this off-duty work to put braces on the teeth of their kids, or to ever give their family a vacation, or any of those things that we all deserve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I really appreciate too when I see just videos of police that it's like the other side of it. Like they're out in the community and they're helping, or they're shooting hoops with some kids. And
exactly.
And I do like they come to my kids' school. And so the the kids get to meet the police and see how they are officers of the peace. So it just creates a little bit less of a divide that
Right.
may have been portrayed with the media, which we know can spin things in certain ways. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, and anything can be spun.
Yeah.
A variety of different ways. I just never thought I would see a time in my life where there was disrespect for law enforcement. It's really frustrating to me. But my avenue for that is just to show the good guys, show the other side of it, and just try to get that out there as well, because there are a lot of good guys out there that are really doing good things and working hard, for the citizens. Yeah.
Yeah. And even being on here and talking about it is just creating that awareness and remembering that as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So, okay. One thing that I really want to talk about, just with your personality, and you talk a little bit about how luckily it's your husband you can outsource some of the tech stuff to, but you're a connector, you're really social, you're really great with people. And one thing I love going on, you know what I'm talking about here? I love this about you, which really surprised me for some reason. I don't know why. But I get on Facebook and I see you on TikTok. So I got to turn the volume up. And like, it's the best, cutest, most adorable, fun part of my day is when I see you on TikTok. So
thanks.
why did you get on TikTok with the scoop?
Well, somebody told me that 1.5 billion people have downloaded the TikTok app. And I was like, what? I think actually really my son showed it to me first, and it's addictive. You start watching and they're hilarious, and and then I'm like, I could do that. And what a great way to just spread some joy and just make somebody laugh or smile. And then, every now and then I throw in a video about our business or what we do. So, 1.5 billion people, I feel like maybe can't be wrong. I don't know. And people don't know, if there's videos on there that you don't like, you just hold your finger on it and say, don't show me these again. It's really simple. And then after just a very short amount of time, you only have things in your feed that you want to see. And there's a lot of people on TikTok just spreading love and happiness and just, making me laugh. And it's a great break in the middle of the day when you're so stressed out and so much going on. You can just hop on there and make a funny video. And I had someone the other day say, how do you have time to make TikToks? I'm like, it's 15 seconds. Seriously, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I'm glad that I can make you laugh. And, I think, life's just better if we're all laughing and making fun of ourselves and having a good time.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not sure it sounds like you got on there more for the fun of it, but what's interesting about it is as we look at all these different social media platforms and how people are looking to get their message out, it's actually kind of a brilliant way for people to get to know you, for you to get your message out, and perhaps even funnel more people towards Blue Family Fund.
Exactly.
Because it's fun, it's light, and they get to know you. And I mean, honestly, it's my highlight. I'm scrolling through looking for Stacey.
That's so great.
I haven't gone on it yet, but I think I'm going to have to check it out. But
my husband's like, oh my God, you're the worst lip syncer in the world. I'm like, I don't care. I think it's funny.
It's all part of it. It's all part of it. So do you really use social media for your business?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, more for Blue Family Fund than Point Blank Safety, because Point Blank is sort of a niche market. But yeah, I mean, everything. We promote everything through Facebook. And then when there is a fallen officer or injured officer, we're able to quickly go in and set up a fundraiser. So, people can donate right there and know exactly, what that money is going for. So I'm all over social media. I also, I do podcast interviews. I speak at different places. I've written a couple of books. So it's a great way to get that known as well. I have a cookbook right now on Amazon. So,
what's your book? Tell us about your book.
Well, it's a cookbook for busy badasses is the name of it. And it's recipes for success. So it sort of gives you step-by-step recipes how to be successful. But then it also gives you real recipes, things you can make in under 30 minutes with stuff you already have in your cabinet. Because, we're all busy, and I talked about my mom earlier, and, she ran her stores for 44 years. She left every day before 7 a.m. and came home about 7 p.m. at night. And I never remember eating takeout ever. So she had a hot meal on the table every night. So it really can be done. And so the cookbook is sort of in honor of her, and how she was able to do that for 44 years. I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but if you want some quick and easy recipes and a way to just get a warm, delicious meal on the table for your kids and know what the ingredients are, it's a great book. And then there's some funny stories in there as well, and some really great tips on how to be successful.
Oh, that's great. So it's like a motivational handbook and literally a recipe book. So
exactly.
Badasses on Amazon. I'm going to check it out. That's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah. So you seem like you're a multi-passionate. Like how do you find time to do all these things?
No, everyone always asks me that. I don't know. I always say I can get more done before 8 a.m. than most people can do all day. And it's really true. I'm a list maker. I make a lot of lists, and I put the priorities at the top, and I don't stop until they're done. I don't move anything to the next day. If it was on the list for today, unless something, crazy happened, but it's going to get done. And I don't skip over the stuff I don't like, which a lot of people, they make a list, but then they don't do the hard stuff. They don't do the things that aren't fun, like the payroll and the bookkeeping and the I don't skip over that. I just power through, and it just works for me. But everybody has their own stuff. Some people like to do time blocking. I don't know. It just works for me. I take a lot of breaks, a lot of TikTok breaks, and it keeps me going.
And it sounds like you've got your systems. And do you get up early? Are you an early riser?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems like a lot of entrepreneurs I talk to, they do get up early. They're up before the sun rises, and that's a big part. And they have some have rituals too. Some have like their daily rituals. Like, do you have any? Well, you got your TikTok breaks, but do you have anything that helps start your day?
Not really. I mean, I always, I guess I do really. I always go in and check the news. I check the local news as well as the national news always every morning, just to stay in the loop, see what's happening in the world. And then pretty consistently always make my husband and I breakfast, and then it's straight to work. So we do take a few minutes in the morning to kind of regroup and get a game plan for the day, sort of thing. But yeah.
And it sounds like you're the kind of person, you don't just think about it, you do it. Like, you started your business, you got this book, you're like, I'm going to write this book, and you did it, and it's on Amazon. So you just kind of made it happen. It wasn't, no excuses, you just got it done.
Well, that works for me. I make decisions quickly. I'm either all in or I'm all out. And if I'm all in, I'm truly all in. And I think really big. I have really big, motivators, I guess. My husband, he loves me to death, but he'll say, hey, Stacey, I'm maxed out. I'm at my max. Girl, if you want to go for that next project, you do it. I'll be behind you, but I'm at my max right now. And I respect that. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. At least you know where your max is. I'm not sure I know where my max is. I just keep on going. And people call me and say, what about this or what about that? And I'm like, let's do it. Go big or go home. And
how do you make those decisions? Like, how do you know you're all in or all out? Is it like, do you like feel it in your body in a certain place? Do you just get that hit in your brain?
I just get it. I just either see the vision or I don't.
Okay.
And yeah, I've made some mistakes. Am I always right? No, for sure not.
You froze on me for a second.
People that one more time. So great, but I'm sorry. I was just going to say, and some choices, you realize quickly that they weren't the best, and then you, chalk it up to life and move on. But you can't stay in that failure or that mistake. You got to just move on and make up for it. And I think that a lot of people get really stuck on their failure or their trouble spot. And, I just don't do that. I just chalk it up to life and keep going.
Well, before this business was a huge success, you talked about some businesses that didn't work. So how did you recover from those? We could call them failures, or we could call them learning points or lessons, whatever you want to call them. But how did you recover and decide to keep going?
Well, it's life, right? You got to keep going. I mean, and you just got to figure it out. And so there were some really low points. One of my first businesses was a lingerie store. And I bought that store because my parents own retail stores. And so I just thought that's what I was supposed to do. I must be supposed to have a retail store. and there was one for sale in Abilene. And so I bought it, 23 years old, I think. And I ran it for a while, not really knowing what I was doing. And, was fairly successful, made a little money, but then Victoria's Secret launches all over the United States and every shopping mall in America, and they could sell it for what I could buy it for. So I couldn't compete with Victoria's Secret away. So I had to close, I had to go under. And, was I really disappointed in myself and felt like a failure? Yeah, because look what my mom had done. She built herself up to 6 stores and, had this massive success. And then I'm over here having to close mine. So yeah, I was really hard on myself for a while, but then I found outside sales, and realized, oh my gosh, you can actually go get a sale and not sit back and wait for it to come to you, which was mind blowing for me. I never knew that was a thing. And then after that happened, I was really successful with a company called Nextel, and we were on a company-wide call, and they were presenting me with, an award or whatever, my successes. And the CEO said, Stacey, if you're this successful with Nextel in Abilene, Texas, what could you do if you were in a bigger market? And it's funny in life, it's that one thing that someone says to you that sticks. You just go, aha, I should be in a bigger market. I can do bigger things than Abilene. So that's how it all kind of kept moving me forward to do better.
Yeah, and it reminds me too that sometimes like those sort of failures or the things that don't work, they actually guide you closer to what you truly are meant to be doing. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like you weren't meant to be in that market, or something bigger comes in and it guides you towards something way bigger than you ever would have even imagined. So it's almost like that's a great way to sort of brush yourself off and keep going, is to look at that and say, okay, this is my lesson or my reason to do what it is I'm meant to do next.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I say this all the time too. If I would have been this successful at 23, I wouldn't have appreciated it or respected it like I do now. I would have just thought it was supposed to be like that. So I think sort of that mindset of envy, if you will, that I was in, trying to have what my parents had, really pushed me forward to go get what I could do and, go get my own success rather than trying to, do what they did, if you will.
Well, and that's a great way to look at comparison, or to look at people who have more success than perhaps one does at a certain point, and to, rather than feel jealous or feel comparison that puts you down, it's to elevate yourself to that, to look at how can I do that, and to ask the questions.
Exactly.
and to find the resources to reach out to people, so you can look at, well, what can I do to get there too? So it's sort of like a motivator.
Right. And just like, I think I saw a Facebook meme the other day that said, don't be jealous of someone when they're in their high years or high place, because you don't know what they went through to get there. So
absolutely,
you got to just, if you don't know someone's story, you have no idea, for sure.
Exactly. It's so true. So what would you say, what would be like your best advice you would give to someone who wants to have a legacy business like yours, and perhaps wants to be able to start a nonprofit to give back to others?
Best advice. I think, outsourcing a lot of things, making sure you have the perfect processes, is the only way you can become a legacy business. If you're the only one that can, push the button to pay people, or you're the only one that can write the check, it's never going to get to that point where you could be a legacy. You've got to really fine tune the processes so that you could either sell or pass down to family or whatever. So you have to make sure, I'm a big believer in outsourcing. I'm not good at everything. So find people that are good at what you're not, and bring them along for the ride. Virtual assistants are huge now, and you can get really talented people from just about anywhere. So yeah, you really have to have a perfect process, perfect plan. You have to really respect the success. And of course, keep your books in order and all that kind of stuff, so that it is passable. But like I said, if you're the one doing everything, it's never going to be something you could pass down or, you know, if the business can't run from day to day without you, there's something wrong.
That's a really good point. It's like going from solopreneur to actual entrepreneur.
Right.
And I remember talking to a mentor at one point, and he brought up the example of McDonald's or Starbucks, and how, you know, when you go in, how it's going to taste, you know, the temperature it's going to be. And if you've ever, I worked at Starbucks when I was younger, and there was processes for everything. Like you measured it exactly every single time. And that worked because then it could be replicatable. So how can your business be duplicatable? I think that's the right word.
Right.
You know, okay, duplicated, or like, let's say if you were to not be there, would it still run? I think those are great points for someone to be able to maybe surpass where they are to get to that next level of success.
Right. And I hear a lot of people say, well, I can't afford to outsource. I can't afford, well, you can't afford not to. Because if you don't, you're never going to be scalable. You're never going to grow. So sometimes you have to take that leap of faith and say, hey, as long as it's the right people and you put them in the right jobs. And, you know, I made the mistake of assuming people know what's in my head. People don't know. You know?
They don't? How do they not know what's in your head?
You have to give clear definitions of expectations of, you know, what you want them to do. They can't read your mind. So, you know, I learned that one the hard way. So, you know, if you find the right people and you give them the right tools, and then that frees you up to go get the revenue or, you know, make the sale. Or if you're not the salesperson, hire someone that is. Hire someone that can really be the face, you know, of your company. But, you know, another big takeaway I want for people is that so many people get hung up on the sale. I can't sell. I'm not good at selling. Selling's so hard. It's not. It's a conversation that you want to have an outcome. That's all. It's just a conversation. I can tell you 3 minutes into a conversation with someone if I'm ever going to sell them, you know. But then at that point, I'm not looking to sell them. I'm looking, who do they know? Who can they connect me to? You know, we're all, whatever it is, 6 degrees away from each other. So it's a small world. So you just really got to figure out, you know, have those conversations and have as many as possible during, you know, the first few years of your business. And that's what's going to take you to the next level.
Right, exactly. I love it. Yeah, so there's a lot of trust and knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, and also being willing to let go so that your business can grow. It's like you have to let it go so your business can grow.
Right. You can't do it all. So you gotta admit where you're good, know where you're good, and stick to that, and then find someone that can do all the other stuff.
Perfect. Well, it's a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much.
Wrap up here. I just want to be able to point people to how best they can find you. Where do you want people to go to find you, to find Blue Family Fund?
Yeah, it's bluefamilyfund.org or just at Blue Family Fund on Facebook. You can donate. We have a donate button right on our page. We also have t-shirts and different kinds of support the police and back the blue items that you can purchase if you rather do it that way. But yeah, we would really appreciate your support. We're every day there's another fallen or injured officer. So every dollar definitely helps.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I am definitely going to check out your book on Amazon, bluefamilyfund.org, and find you on TikTok.
Yes, please do. Go follow me.
All right,
thank you so much, Steph.
Stacey.
Yeah, appreciate it.